to the home of Fatima. I moved to Islamabad in Ramzan this year on pure guidance. It was very confusing for me because it would have been so much easier to do this in Karachi, which is where I live, and have a home and my friends and my life there. But for some reason, it was very specific that this initiative had to be taken in Islamabad. I have dedicated this place primarily for women and female spirituality and healing. I do feel that there's a great need for sacred spaces for women. I also do Sufi healing, energy healing. My teacher Sheikh Nazim was a well-known healer, and he encouraged me to do healing. This is the healing room, and so what I practice is called Sufi healing. So it's energy healing. Try and become an empty vessel to channel divine energy. So it's not sort of giving my energy as such. It is just allowing the divine energy to pass through me. I generally use my hands and place them intuitively on different parts of a person's body where I feel the blocks exist, and allow the energy to do its work. It's intelligent energy, and it knows exactly what it needs to do. So the concept behind energy healing is that any disease that presents itself physically is actually a block in our energy body. And so if we're able to dissolve those energy blocks, the symptom, which is the disease, automatically goes away. So in theory, it's great, but there are a couple of things that we need to keep in mind when working with energy blocks. And one of those things is that these energy blocks are created due to certain habitual thought patterns, mindsets, certain ways of dealing with life, how we feel, pain, suffering, primarily. Certain things, certain actions that we do. So if you recall, one of the greatest healers of all times, Jesus, even when he used to heal people, he would tell them, "You are healed now, but go and sin no more." Meaning there is a certain change in behavior that needs to happen to maintain the healed state. Because what tends to happen is that those patterns, habitual patterns, recreate themselves very, very quickly, unless there's a shift that happens. So although you're healed in the moment, chances are that you will recreate the block and recreate, therefore, the illness very, very quickly, unless something shifts, and unless you become more conscious of those patterns and blocks and make an effort not to recreate them. Energy clearing. It's very, very important to clear energy in our homes, within ourselves as well, of course, but also in our surroundings. So what tends to happen is certain negative energies, toxic energies tend to sort of enter our homes, accumulate around us, and we need to get rid of them. So traditionally, and this is something that I really try and use every day around Maghrib time, to burn lobans, hurmal, sage. So there are various things that we can actually burn to clear energy, and I find them to be really, really useful. So spirituality is about many different things. It's about our own personal experiences, which are oftentimes very, very private and personal and difficult to share, because we haven't been brought up with the idea of sharing our sort of inner knowings, our guidances, our things that we learn from our dream realm, from spiritual realms, from our meditations, insights, gut feelings, intuition, are all things that we've not been conditioned, or we've not been allowed to really honor and made a part of our conversations. And that is a great tragedy as far as I'm concerned, because if we begin to honestly share, our inner worlds, I think we would do a great service to ourselves and each other. Secondly, there's this concept of spirituality and spiritual people having to be, positive all the time and cheerful all the time and peaceful all the time. And I don't believe that's the case, because there are certain times in life where being angry or being outraged is the appropriate response. I think with a lot of the things that are happening in the world today, it is very much an authentic reaction to be completely outraged. It's no secret my thoughts about the whole COVID situation. I'm not denying that a virus does exist and people are falling sick. My objection is to how that has been used and manipulated to take away our civil rights, our liberties, to completely, control our people, to make money of it, to profit from it. So I do feel that this is another sort of agenda. There is another agenda behind what's going on, which will start to become clearer as time goes on. But I think because there are so many people who are questioning what's going on now, and it's becoming more and more clear that this vaccination is not really effective. People are still dying. People are still getting ill. So there are a lot of loopholes or question marks that are rising in people's minds. So lo and behold, we have another sort of resurrection of the old sort of agenda of terrorizing people and taking away their civil rights, which is Islamic extremism. So lo and behold, we have another revival of the Taliban, who are rapidly taking over Afghanistan as the US forces are evacuating, and conveniently leaving behind tons and tons of weapons that are now falling in the hands of the Taliban, which they can now use to brutalize and terrorize the Afghani population. I am not for US occupation of Afghanistan. I am not for NATO sort of taking over Afghanistan, but I am neither in a position to ever be able to support a Taliban government, from having seen how what that meant in the past when they were in government, how they imposed what they referred to as Islamic Sharia government, which to my mind, to my understanding of Islam, was the complete opposite of the teachings of our Prophet and the Quran. Starting with the most fundamental, basic tenet, which is there is no compulsion in religion. So to start beating up young boys for not having beards, and to start beating up women for not wearing, a burqa, was outrageous. I mean, and that is just the start. That is just the beginning of the atrocities and the oppressions that were happening. And for all my fellow citizens in Pakistan and Afghanistan who are sort of feeling sympathetic or are in some way supporting the Taliban, I really urge you to wake up and stop being stupid, because there is nothing but trouble ahead, and they are nothing